Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where, and who is he? Job 30:3-8. For want and famine they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness in former time, desolate and waste, who cut up mallows by the bushes, and juniper roots for their meat. They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as after a thief, to dwell in the cliffs of the valleys, in caves of the earth, and in the rocks. Among the bushes they brayed, under the nettles they were gathered together. They were children of fools, yea, children of base men. They were viler than the earth. The architecture in Petra, Rome, and the U.S. capital shares remarkable similarities. Firstly, all three display a mastery of grandeur, emphasizing power and authority. But according to the Bible, that authority is that of the red dragon. The impressive facades of Petra's treasury, Rome's Colosseum, and the U.S. Capitol building showcase the might of their respective civilizations. Secondly, they demonstrate architectural innovation, from the integration of natural rock formations in Petra to the impeccable use of arches and columns in Rome and the neoclassical design in the U.S. Capitol. Each display unique elements that push the boundaries of construction. Their fascinating appreciation for caves as the descendants of the troglodyte is daunting. Lastly, they serve as cultural symbols. Petra represents the Idumean civilization's prosperity, while Rome embodies the grandeur of the Roman Empire, and the U.S. Capitol symbolizes America's democratic values. These architectural wonders stand the test of time, unifying civilizations across continents through their similarities and cultural significance. The vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord God concerning Edom, We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, Who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? Follow the Forefront Radio for more. Title: Alexander the Greek, Unveiling the Evils of Hellenization in Africa. Introduction. 1 Maccabees 1:1. And it happened after that Alexander son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chedim, had smitten Darius king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece. The conquests of Alexander the Greek marked a turning point in history, as the Greek Empire expanded its influence across vast lands, extending into Africa. However, this period of Hellenization brought with it a multitude of evils that impacted the black indigenous peoples, particularly the Israelites. This video aims to shed light on the oppressive practices and the profound influence of forced oppression and slavery perpetrated by Alexander and his Greek armies in Africa. By examining historical sources and referencing the books of 1st Maccabees and 2nd Maccabees, this video will explore the devastating consequences of Hellenization on the Israelite population. 1. Maccabees 1:7-9. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, and his servants bare rule everyone in his place. And after his death they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. Understanding Hellenization and its goals. Hellenization refers to the spread of Greek culture, language, and political ideologies throughout the conquered territories. The primary objective of Hellenization was to assimilate the conquered peoples into Greek culture, thereby consolidating Alexander's rule and unifying his vast empire. This process rapidly became a tool to enforce Greek cultural practices and to erode the distinctive cultural identities of indigenous populations. Similarities are found in the sinister practices of Rome, as well as the integration of Eurocentric culture in the West today. Forced oppression and slavery of the Israelites. The Israelites, who had long been a significant presence in Africa, faced the brunt of Alexander's wrath and the subsequent Hellenistic dynasty's oppression. The Greeks sought to crush the religious beliefs, customs, and traditions of the Israelites by imposing their own culture and suppressing the Israelite way of life, forcing the noble Israelites to no longer call themselves Jews, but to live by the moniker as Greek citizens, Grecians, Antiochans, and Part 2. Historical accounts reveal that the Israelites were subjected to forced labor, slavery, and religious persecution. The restrictions placed on their practices and observance of Afro-Hebraic biblical culture were a deliberate attempt to break the spirit of the Israelite community and weaken their cultural cohesion. The Greeks desecrated Israelite temples, banned circumcisions, and imposed pagan practices upon the Israelites, further exacerbating their suffering. The books of 1st and 2nd Maccabees as sources. The books of 1st Maccabees and 2nd Maccabees provide invaluable historical context and shed light on the impact of Hellenization on the Israelite community. These texts provide first-hand accounts of the atrocities committed by Alexander and his armies, as well as the relentless struggle of the black people to resist and preserve their cultural and religious heritage. 1st Maccabees chronicles the persecution of the Israelites, highlighting the decrees imposed upon them and the resistance led by a group of black Hebrew fighters known as the Maccabees. 2nd Maccabees delves further into the brutalities faced by the Israelites, emphasizing the strength and resilience of their community in the face of immense adversity. The evils of Hellenization in Africa. The infiltration of Greek culture into Africa brought about several significant evils for the Israelites. These include 1. Suppression of religious freedom. The Greeks sought to eradicate the Bible by prohibiting key practices, such as temple worship, circumcision, and the observance of Bible holy day festivals. This assault on religious freedom was intended to weaken the spiritual and moral foundations of the Israelite community. 2. Cultural assimilation. Hellenization aimed to enforce Greek customs, language, and norms upon the conquered territories. Greek education, clothing, and even the introduction of Greek deities and philosophies sought to assimilate the Israelites into a foreign culture, erasing their distinct identity. 3. Slavery and forced labor. The Israelites were subjected to forced labor and slavery, leading to the loss of their lands, economic independence, and personal freedoms. This further marginalized and oppressed the already vulnerable Israelite community. 4. Desecration of holy sites. The Greeks defiled Hebrew temples throughout Africa, replacing them with pagan sanctuaries dedicated to Greek deities. Follow Forefront Radio for more. Unveiling the shadows of power, conflicts, atrocities, and lies of the George W. Bush administration. Introduction. The George W. Bush administration, which spanned from 2001 to 2009, was marked by significant conflicts, atrocities, and a legacy tarnished with accusations of deception. This essay delves into the administration's actions and their consequences, backed by factual data, to shed light on the shadows of power that defined this period in American history. 1. The Iraq War, a false premise. The Bush administration justified the invasion of Iraq with claims that Saddam Hussein possessed weapons of mass destruction, WMDs. However, subsequent investigations and intelligence reports revealed no evidence of such weaponry. The war resulted in the deaths of approximately 189,000 people, including over 4,400 American soldiers. 2. Torture and detention policies. The administration implemented aggressive interrogation techniques, including waterboarding, sleep deprivation, and prolonged stress positions in secret detention facilities like Guantanamo Bay. Human rights organizations criticized these practices as torture and a violation of international law. 3. Civil liberties. Erosion. The Patriot Act, hastily enacted after the 9/11 attacks, gave the government sweeping surveillance powers without sufficient oversight. As a result, privacy rights were infringed upon, undermining civil liberties and fostering a climate of fear and suspicion. 4. Post-invasion chaos in Iraq. The Iraq War created a power vacuum, leading to sectarian violence and insurgencies. The civilian death toll reached an estimated 137,000 by 2019, leaving Iraq in enduring turmoil. 5. Hurricane Katrina response failure. The Bush administration's response to Hurricane Katrina in 2005 was marred by inadequate coordination and delayed aid delivery. The storm's devastation disproportionately affected low-income communities, revealing systemic racial and socio-economic disparities in the government's disaster response efforts. 6. Economic fallout and financial crisis. The administration's deregulation policies in the financial sector, including the repeal of the Glass-Steagall Act, contributed to the 2008 global financial crisis. This crisis resulted in millions of Americans losing their jobs, homes, and pensions, while Wall Street institutions received bailouts. Follow the Forefront Radio for more. Title: Esau's Judgment and the Parallels Between Rome and America, a Reflection on Divine Justice. Introduction. Within Jewish scholarship, the story of Esau as depicted in the Torah has been subject to interpretation and contemplation. Jewish scholars have examined the character of Esau, his relationship with Jacob, and the consequences of his actions. Drawing upon these insights, some find intriguing parallels between ancient Rome and modern-day America, highlighting certain practices and motivations that may attract divine judgment. By exploring these connections, we can gain a deeper understanding of the potential consequences of particular societal attitudes and actions. 1. Esau and Rome. Esau, as depicted in the scriptures, is often associated with Rome due to the period in which the Roman Empire exerted its influence. Just as Esau skirted the path of righteousness, Rome was perceived as a powerful and imperialistic force that embraced indulgence, corruption, and idol worship. This connection allows us to examine some of the enigmatic practices and motivations prevalent within the Roman Empire, which may shed light on similar patterns in contemporary America. 2. Rome and America. Drawing parallelism between Rome and America raises several thought-provoking questions about the values and practices of the latter. Just as Rome accumulated power through conquest and colonization, America's historical trajectory includes the displacement and subjugation of indigenous populations. Similar to the Roman Empire, America has at times been accused of prioritizing material wealth, consumerism, and the pursuit of personal gain over communal well-being. 3. Ethical concerns and divine judgment. Jewish scholars and theologians have long explored the concepts of divine judgment and human responsibility. They emphasize the importance of ethical behavior, social justice, and treating others with compassion. Within the context of Rome and America, this raises challenging questions about practices such as exploitation, systemic injustice, and the pursuit of dominance at the expense of morality and fairness. 4. Societal transformation and divine intervention. While the connections between Esau's judgment and the potential judgment of modern nations are speculative, Jewish scholars emphasize the possibility of divine intervention to rectify societal imbalances and injustices.
Or the Quarantine Report, I'm Amy Goodman. The FBI and New York police departments are facing new calls to finally open their records related to the assassination of Malcolm X, shot dead 56 years ago.
Black this, black that, black when, black how. I was black then and I'm black now. Black fist, black power. Black pain look like black rain. See our tears turn to spring showers and nourish the rose that grew from the con.